My name is Piapon Wungpenamporn, and today I will be discussing metaphysical poetry. Metaphysical poetry is based on philosophical and spiritual subjects. Some topics of interest within this movement are love, religion, and morality. Poets of this movement often include metaphysical conceits, which are used to fuse the sensory and abstract, and to hold the reader's attention. Poets within this movement sometimes include contemporary scientific advancements in their poems as well. The English writer Samuel Johnson described metaphysical poetry as the most heterogeneous ideas are yoked by violence together. Nature and art are ransacked for illustrations, comparisons, and illusions. Poets of this movement include John Donne, who was known as a great English poet and the leading poet of metaphysical poetry; George Herbert, who was enormously popular and influential of his time; and lastly John Milton, who was known as an important British devotional lyricist. The poem Holy Sonnets, Death Be Not Proud, by John Donne. Death be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou think'st thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure then from thee much more must flow, and soonest our best men with thee do go. Rest of their bones, and soul's delivery, thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, and dots with poison, war, sickness dwell, and poppy or charms can make us sleep as well, and better than thy stroke, why swell'st thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more, death thou shalt die. In lines 1 and 2, Death be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. The speaker is implying that death has always been branded as undesirable and dreadful, but this truly may not be. In lines 3 and 4, for those whom thou think'st thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. The speaker is saying that death cannot really kill him, as death does not really control his fate. In lines 5 through 7, from rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure then from thee much more must flow, and soonest our best men with thee do go. Death is being compared to sleep here, because as in sleep we find pleasure, so the speaker is implying that in death we may find pleasure. Rest of their bones and soul's delivery, line 8, this signifies the transition from a living body to the spiritual world, as the speaker says, soul's delivery. Thou art slave to fate and desperate men, line 9, the speaker denounces death, saying how death is a slave to fate. In lines 10 through 12, and dots with poison, war, and sickness dwell, and poppy or charms can make us sleep as well, and better than thy stroke, why swell'st thou then? The speaker lists many factors that death has no hold of, such as poison, war, and sickness, which death cannot control. In line 13, one short sleep past, we wake eternally. The speaker is implying that as death occurs to our physical body, our spirits stay alive eternally. As death occurs, we wake in our spiritual afterlife. In line 14, and death shall be no more, thou shalt die. Death should no longer be seen as an end. So, the speaker is implying that death should no longer be seen as dreadful. Adding on to the explication, death is personified in the poem. The speaker attacks, insults, and mocks death. The speaker basically denounces death by saying, death be not proud, or death shall be no more, implying that death isn't what it truly is made to be. And then there's also the theme of afterlife, which is hinted as the speaker says, "One short sleep past, we wake eternally," implying that after our death our spirits awake eternally.